myeloma, or leukemia often prompt doctors to advise a bone marrow transplant as treatment. The American Association of Physicians of Indian Origin has partnered with the National Marrow Donor Program to increase the Indian donor pool. TV Asia brings a special report highlighting the importance of this initiative. Well, now it's Blood cancers such as lymphoma, myeloma, or leukemia often prompt doctors to advise a bone marrow transplant as treatment. In general, 70% of patients needing a stem cell transplant don't have a fully matched donor in their family, and approximately 12,000 patients per year depend on transplant from an unrelated donor to survive. These numbers are even dire for cancer patients of Indian ethnicity, as the donor pool of Indian ethnicity is very limited, according to AAPI. The American Association of Physicians of Indian Origin has taken a significant step to address this pressing health need by partnering with the National Marrow Donor Program. This collaboration aims to increase the representation of Indian donors in the National Registry, a critical initiative to save lives through bone marrow transplants. One can join the NMDP registry if you are between the ages of 18 to 40, a resident of the United States, and don't have major medical illnesses. TV Asia brings a special report highlighting the importance of this initiative, underscoring the need for bone marrow donors, and sheds light on how critical these contributions can be for patients battling blood cancers.
AAPI, we wanted to do this project this year. We started this a few months ago, and we are gaining some momentum. We are trying to reach out to Indian organizations, and we tied up with this is the thing called the NMDP, National Marrow Donor Program. So that's what we are trying to do. We are trying to educate people that we need to increase our pool of registrants, because the chance of finding a donor for a Caucasian is about 20 to 30% in the need one. But for Indians and South Asians, it's less than 0.01%. So it is very hard to find a bone marrow donor. So that's why it is important to promote this, to educate people. Always people think about bone marrow transplant is, drilling the bone marrow and taking the bone marrow out. That's not the case anymore. Things have changed over the years. Now we have stem cells, which are actually taken out from the arm with a line, which is a simple process. And even testing for it is also very simple. All we have to collect is a buccal mucosal sample, a cheek swab, so to speak. So that is done very easily. And if somebody needs, the donor, then they will contact the donor. So the chance of that is less. But even if they are called, it's a simple procedure. It's not painful, as people think.
Dr. Kathula also reassured potential donors about the minimal effort required and the profound impact they could have.
Giving stem cells is not painful, as I just mentioned. Sample is very easy. Even taking it is very easy. I mean, it's like blood transfusion. People who are receiving it, it's collected in a bag, and then you inject that after some conditioning regimen, what we call. That could be radiation, that could be chemotherapy, and then it kills all the cells in the blood and bone marrow, and then you inject the donor cells. The donor cells have what is called graft versus leukemia effect, and they recognize these leukemia or lymphoma cells as foreign, and the donor cells kill them. So that's how it works. But giving is painless procedure. All they need is a line. We collect the stem cells with a machine. We don't need to do bone marrow biopsies or bone marrow collections. And then receiving it is easy also for somebody who needs it. So this is an easy thing, but again, donors have no complications. Very minimal complications, I should say. Only line-related complications. Those are very, very minimal. The recipients may have some issues based on the match and everything. If they are full match, there is something called graft versus host disease. If they are not full match, then the recipients may develop things like graft versus host disease, But if the match is full, if the donor is a full match with the recipient, the chance of that graft versus host disease is much, much less.
Dr. Kathala also outlined the registration process.
They can go to AAPI.org where we have a QR code, and that can take them to the website where they can register. And once they register, then they send a kit from NBDP, and the people can collect their buccal swab or cheek swab and send it back to the registry so they're registered in the pool. So whenever there's a need, then they may call them. The chance of that is pretty low. But like I said, even if they are called, it's a painless procedure for the donor.
Families of patients in need also shared their stories, emphasizing the critical role that donors play in giving patients a second chance at life. Their messages were directed toward the Indian American community, urging individuals to step forward and join the registry.
My father was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia, or AML, in August of 2023. This particular strain of cancer is rare like any form of cancer, although it is especially aggressive, dangerous, and complex. My dad was always a healthy guy, trying to get active every weekend. He maintained a balanced diet and prioritized his health whenever he could. Like many Indians, he would be vegetarian for some time of the week and refrain from any red meat. And for his age, he was at the pinnacle of health, without a doubt. When we heard the news about his diagnosis, it was devastating, as expected. My first response was to decipher the answer to the situation as I scrambled to find statistics and numbers about mortality and procedures for the illness, as prior to this, I practically had no knowledge on any form of cancer care. We quickly learned that his case was very serious, as even though it was detected early on, he would require a bone marrow transplant as soon as possible. During his initial stages of induction chemotherapy, my family and our team at Freighter Hospital were looking for a match for a stem cell transplant without avail. In the United States, Indians make up 1 to 2% of the population, which is still more than 5 million people, though not surprisingly, the National Registry, or NBDP, is composed of around 1% Indian people. One of the problems is that many of these people registered in the 90s or early 2000s, making them ineligible for donation now due to age restrictions. We were depending on the second generation of Indians in the United States to create a safeguard or shield for desperate individuals, such as my dad. Luckily, in February of 2024, my dad received a sibling match from his brother who lives in India, which is a 25% chance for those with siblings. The registry viable candidates are dwindling because of the misunderstanding of the procedure. If an individual between the ages of 18 and 40 were to register, the National Marrow Donation Program, or NBDP, would send them a free cheek swab kit and a prepaid envelope for them to send back once used. They will analyze their genetic makeup and attempt to match them with a patient. If matched, they would be contacted and request to donate a blood sample, and as Dr. Kutula said, it is quite rare, but when you are contacted, you're kind of expected to have like a commitment to the cause. And then they'll request a blood sample, and this donation is like any other blood donation, and you will pay absolutely nothing associated with the entire process.
My request is, please, everybody register through Be My Match, and so we have to increase the donor pool, and in that way, we're all, it can save the life, and then it can save anybody's life here. And then creating awareness is very, very important. Anybody, people who don't know about this should be educated as well. So I really, request everybody to spread this awareness and get educated. And it is for your own, saving your own life and saving also other people's life.
Aditya, who has been diagnosed with ALL type of leukemia, in September after summer holidays. He's a very active child who loves to play football and basketball, and he's very smart kid in school. This thing came all of a sudden. We were not expecting. He was learning his skating in India during summer holidays, and he was complaining about his knee pain, and I was like, maybe you fall on, and it's hurting, but the pain did not go away. It was getting more and more severe at the point that he was not able to walk. And I took him to the doctors after coming back to US, and he was also showing on and off fevers, but this fever was, it was difficult to understand because anytime if he is sick or he has fever, he will just come and stick with me, like a child coming to his mother, and he's always around me. But this time he was super active, and that was a bit confusing for me, that something is really off, like this is not usual. Meanwhile, it was my time to come back home to US, and we came back here and I took him to the doctor's office. They were worried about his knee pain. They took x-ray. They were not able to find anything. They were just trying to find out what's going on in the knee, and they tried taking x-ray of the second knee, but it was just clear. I think God gave me instinct, or I would say I requested doctors to do blood tests instead of going through the knee x-rays. And there we found out that he has white blood cells count of 340,000, and it was massive. It was just shocking to see the reports. We are requesting here from AAPI group to find a donor. We have done his induction cycle, his 2 months of consolidation cycle. He's still at high risk. Leukemia is very stubborn. The final treatment for him to cure him is bone marrow transplant. So we are here to request each and everyone who is listening to this message, please come forward and register yourself. The newer generation, please, to save kids' lives.
Those who are watching this program, please make sure that you spread this. You share the links so that it can go to masses. There are people, our community is very generous, but they need to know about it. And that's what we are right here.
The partnership between AAPI and NMDP is not just a call to action, but a beacon of hope for countless patients and their families. By increasing awareness and facilitating donor registration, this initiative holds the promise of saving lives and strengthening community ties. For those eligible, taking the step to register as a donor is not just a contribution to a database, but a potential lifeline for someone in desperate need. As the campaign progresses, it is hoped that many will heed the call and join the fight to save lives through bone marrow donation.